First-generation city was the human settlement in straight connection with nature and dependent on nature. The fertile and rich Taipei Basin provided a fruitful environment for such a settlement. The rivers were full of fish and good for transportation, and the mountains protected the farmed plains from the straightest hits of the frequent typhoons. The second-generation city is the industrial city. Industrialism granted the citizens independence from nature. A mechanical environment could provide everything needed for humans. Nature was seen as something unnecessary or as something hostile. It was walled away from the mechanical reality. Third-generation city is the organic ruin of the industrial city. The community gardens of Taipei are fragments of the third-generation urbanism when they exist together with the industrial surroundings. Local knowledge is present in the city, and this is where Ruin Academy focuses its research. Among the urban gardeners are the local knowledge professors of Taipei. Third-generation city is true when the city recognizes its local knowledge and allows itself to be part of nature. The Ruin Academy, Taipei 2010, is set to rethink the industrial city and the relationship between the modern man and nature in the urbanized Taipei Basin. It is looking from the local knowledge for the seeds of the third-generation city. Ruin is when man-made has become part of nature. This is the subconscious desire of the industrial city and the collective trauma of the modern man. Taipei is currently presenting a most advanced industrial coexistence of a modern city and uncontrollable organic anarchy. Nature, including human nature, is pushing through the industrial surface and turning the city towards the organic according to a post-human design and ecological sensibility. To understand this force, the reinforced and divided academic disciplines are of no use. Neither is centralized politics providing any tools. Communication needs to find another way. Ruin Academy has focused its research on the unofficial life-providing systems within the official mechanical city. These spontaneous and citizen-generated systems are constantly ruining the official Taipei. These are systems that are, through punctual interventions, fermenting and composting the city. From the organic topsoil produced by these composts will emerge the third-generation city, the organic ruin of the industrial city, an organic machine. The smelliest parts of the unofficial Taipei contain the highest level of energy and local knowledge, life still in connection with nature, at the same time as the official industrialism aims for a sterile and fully controlled condition. This brings to mind Andrei Tarkovsky's maxim in Stalker: when a tree is growing, it's tender and pliant. But when it's dry and hard, it dies. Hardness and strength are death's companions. Pliancy and weakness are expressions of the freshness of being. Because what has hardened will never win. These urban composts are the corners that are maintaining the essence of the local knowledge, a constructive interaction of nature and human nature in the built human environment. This local knowledge is suggesting the ways of the ruining processes for Taipei towards the third-generation city. Ruin Academy is unofficial, pliant, and weak, in contrast to academic strength and hardness. The Ruin Academy is a basic shelter for academic squatting, stripped down from disciplinary focusing and institutional strength. Most important is the connection to the local knowledge, the site-specific wisdom of sustainable human presence in the Taipei Basin. This knowledge seems to be in straight connection with the collective memory of the first-generation city, when the built human environment was dependent on nature and dominated by nature. The local knowledge is the driving force for the organic penetrations through the industrial layer of the Taipei Basin today. Local knowledge is the force tuning the city towards the organic. Our communication center is the public sauna on the 5th floor of the Ruin Academy building. We are looking for the seeds of the third-generation city. What are the processes that are ruining the industrial Taipei, turning it towards the organic third-generation city? What are the systems that are bringing life into the modern machine? What is the life force/chi that keeps the city alive, and how can this chi be negotiated with by means of urban acupuncture? The elements of the third-generation Taipei. 1. Urban acupuncture. Urban acupuncture is characterized by punctual interventions through the official surface of the city which aim to establish contact between the urban collective conscious and the life-providing systems of nature, including human nature. The networks of illegal community gardens and urban farms of Taipei present a fine example of urban acupuncture. These gardens are the urban acupuncture needles that manipulate and manifest the collective underlying organic chi of the industrial city and turn the mechanical city towards an organic machine. The spontaneous, unofficial, and self-organized community gardens are strong representations of anarchy through gardening. 2. Illegal architecture. The instant Taipei is self-made architecture using the official city as a growing platform and energy source, attaching itself like a parasite in order to leach electricity and water. The illegal architecture is so widespread and deep-rooted as a culture in the Taiwanese cityscape that we could almost speak about another city on top of the official Taipei, a parallel city or a paracity. This DIY-built human environment is tied directly to human nature and motivated by basic human instinct and mandated only by desire and availability. Paradoxically, the illegal settlements such as Treasure Hill are living in a more balanced relationship with the natural environment. 3. Urban nomad. The urban nomad is the antithesis of Walter Benjamin's flaneur, who is numb and absent in the capital-driven urban surroundings. The urban nomad is on the move, harvesting and trapping in a city that he views as a landscape wherein seasons and energy concentrations are constantly changing. The urban nomad can operate alone or in larger camp-like concentrations, such as the night markets. He is faster and lighter than the official control mechanism of the city, which tries to prevent him from operating. Besides trading, the urban nomads are also harvesting the city of its trash and leftover goods for recycling. This hit-and-run unofficial economy is leeching on the steady material streams of the structural city and is presenting a form of street-level anarchy through business exchange. A series of activities are on the move or popping up and disappearing in Taipei. These include the night markets, underbridge activities, street vendors, spontaneous karaoke, gambling, puppet theater, massage, barber, monks, betel nut booths, and even moving gods, all very sensitive to the urban energy flows and hotspots of urban acupuncture. 4. River urbanism. Taipei, 1G, exists because of the river and the fertile floodplains. The industrial city, 2G, claimed independence from nature and turned the river into an industrial sewage site. A reinforced concrete wall 12 meters high was constructed in between the built human environment and the river nature. Third-generation city aims to reunite the river and city through the natural restoration of the river environment. The river shall run as an ecological corridor through a city that is pulsating together with its hydraulics. The city will be redeveloped from the viewpoint of the river. Local knowledge still remembers the time when the water of the rivers was drinkable and people washed themselves in the rivers. Every family had a rowing boat and the river was full of harvest. This is still a living memory for some in Taipei, but for the industrial generations the river has become a fiction. The phoenix bird has not yet come and the river has not yet revealed its divine nature. This is the end of me. Confucius. 5. Ultra ruin. Ruin is when man-made has become part of nature. The ruining processes of Taipei are keeping the city alive. A weed will root into a crack in the asphalt and eventually ruin the city. The crack is the acupuncture point and the weed is the needle. The mechanical surface of Taipei is dotted with ruins and holes reflecting a larger vision of an organic machine, the organic ruin of the industrial city. People are constantly ruining the totalitarian control architecture of the industrial mind, which they subconsciously feel as a threat to the human nature. To understand the dynamics of the ruining processes of a city is essential for the growing of the third-generation built human environment. Treasure Hill is a high-density ruin, a fragment of the third-generation city. In the settlement, the same space is shared by people and jungle, and the complex three-dimensional power balances between the different species, including humans, is delicately changing day by day. Treasure Hill also lives on a flood bank and does not view the river as a threat. It is inhabited by urban nomads who are harvesting the surrounding city. The whole settlement is an urban acupuncture needle for Taipei. Local knowledge is an element that is pushing through all the layers of the 3G city, a connection between the modern man and nature. Following Fritz Lang in Metropolis, the mediator between the head and the hands must be the heart. Local knowledge is the mediator that is tying the third-generation citizen with nature and which operates as the subconscious natural agent on the collective conscious of the civilized man. Paracity. To find a form that accommodates the mess, that is the task of the artist now. Samuel Beckett. Paracity is a biourban organism that is growing on the principles of open form, individual design build actions generating spontaneous communicative reactions on the surrounding built human environment, and this organic constructivist dialogue leading into self-organized community structures, development, and knowledge building. The growing organism, the paracity, is based on a three-dimensional wooden primary structure, organic grid with spatial modules of 6x6x6 meters constructed out of CLT cross-laminated timber sticks. This simple structure can be modified and grown by the community members working as teams or by an assigned paracity constructor. The primary structure can grow even on neglected urban areas, such as river floodplains, hillsides, abandoned industrial areas, storm water channels or slums. Paracity suits perfectly to flooding and tsunami risk areas, and the CLT primary structure has a high standard of earthquake performance. People will attach their individual self-made architectural solutions, gardens, and farms on the primary structure, which offers a three-dimensional building grid for the DIY architecture. Primary structure offers the main arteries of water and human circulation, but the finer local knowledge nervous networks are grown by the inhabitants. Large parts of the paracity is occupied by wild and cultivated nature. Paracity's self-sustainable biourban growth is backed up by off-the-grid environmental technology solutions providing methods for water purification, energy production, organic waste treatment, wastewater purification and sludge recycling. These modular plug-in components can be adjusted according to the growth of the paracity, and moreover, The whole paracity is designed not only to treat and circulate its own material streams, but to start leaching waste from its host city, becoming a positive urban parasite following the similar kind of symbiosis as in between slums and the surrounding city. In a sense, paracity is a high-tech slum, which can start tuning the industrial city towards an ecologically more sustainable direction. Paracity is a third-generation city, an organic machine, urban compost, which is helping the industrial city to transform into being part of nature. Paracity/Taipei. The pilot project of the Paracity is growing on an urban farming island of Danshui River, Taipei City. The island is located between the Zhongxing and Zhangjiao bridges and is around 1,000 meters long and 300 meters wide. Paracity Taipei is celebrating the original first-generation Taipei urbanism with high level of illegal architecture, self-organized communities, urban farms, community gardens, urban nomads, and constructive anarchy. Paracity Taipei will be powered mostly by bioenergy that is using the organic waste, including sludge, taken from the surrounding industrial city, and by farming fast-growing biomass on the flood banks of the Taipei River system. Environmental technology components are mounted on barges that are plugged into the Paracity maintenance docks. Barges can be modified according to the needs of the growing biourbanism. Paracity is based on free flooding. There are no flood walls. The first 6 meters level above the ground is not built, but the whole city is standing on stilts and thus providing the whole ground floor for community actions, nature, and space requiring recycling yards. Paracity Taipei will construct itself through impacts of a collective conscious as a nest of post-industrial insects. Paracity is estimated to have 15,000–25,000 inhabitants. Conclusion. The way towards the third-generation city is a process of becoming a learning and healing organization and to reconnect the urbanized collective conscious with nature. In Taipei, the wall between the city and the river must be gone. This requires a total transformation from the city infrastructure and the centralized power bureaucracy. Citizens on their behalf are ready and are breaking the industrial city by themselves already. Local knowledge is operating independently from the official city and is providing punctual third-generation surroundings within the industrial city, and by doing that providing self-organized urban acupuncture for the stiff official mechanism. The weak signals of the unofficial collective conscious should be recognized as the future's emerging issues, futures that are already present in Taipei. The official city should learn how to enjoy acupuncture, how to give up industrial control in order to let nature to step in. The local knowledge-based transformation layer of Taipei is happening from inside the city, and it is happening through self-organized punctual interventions. These interventions are driven by small-scale businesses and alternative economies benefiting from the fertile land of the Taipei Basin and of leaching from the material and energy streams of the official city. This acupuncture is making the city weaker, softer, and readier for a larger change. The larger-scale rapid change must also go business first. Third-generation Taipei is based on free flooding and clean river, and this transformation is a huge business opportunity that can be replicated in a large number or emerging cities in China, India, and elsewhere. The organic fingers growing from the fertile river banks will reach everywhere in the mechanical-built human environment and bring new kind of critical development for many sectors of industrial life. A large number of new businesses will emerge. Through its own transformation, Taipei can build up a powerful business model for ecological restoration of emerging cities. Facilitating this transformation is hard if not impossible for the existing rigid structures of the Taipei City and new Taipei City governments. The futures-oriented urban ecological restoration process and business modeling could be facilitated by an external futures platform such as the Ruin Academy/Casagrande Laboratory. Elements. 1. Open form. In its growth, Paracity is following the organic design methodology of open form, Oscar Hansen, Svein Hatloy, in which community-level design is viewed as an open dialogue with design actions generating spontaneous design reactions within the surroundings. Open form is close to the original Taiwanese ways of developing the self-organized and often illegal communities. These micro-urban settlements are containing a high volume of local knowledge, which we also believe will start composting in Paracity, when opening up the community development to the citizens. Centralized architectural control is opened up in order to let nature, including human nature, to step in. The life-providing volume of Paracity is 11, existence maximum, highest possible life in the given conditions, and more. 2. CLT skeleton. Paracity provides the skeleton, but citizens bring in the flesh. Design should not replace reality, flesh is more. The skeleton, the primary structure of Paracity, is constructed out of 6 meters long, 50x50 cm profile, cross-laminated timber CLT sticks which are used to form 6x6x6 meters cubes, that are piled up to 16 stories high, 8 cubes. The CLT primary structure has a fine earthquake performance and it is fire resistant. The structural elements/sticks with wood joints are prefabricated and transported to the Paracity Island on barges. The construction work, the growing of the Paracity primary organism, can be manually done by residents in teams of professional parasite constructors. The CLT structure is just a landscape on which citizens will attach their own houses and gardens. 3. Environmental technology. The biourban growth of the Paracity is supported by high environmental technology which is mounted on barges. These modular biovessels are attached to the Paracity service harbor and can be adjusted according to the needs of the evolving urban organism. The post-industrial fleet of biovessels can travel along the Taipei River system and is ready to start the biourban restoration process also from other hotspots of the river city. The environmental technology barges provide solutions for wastewater treatment of Paracity and of the surrounding Taipei. Water purification. The infrastructural water circulation is originated from the polluted Danshui River. Sludge treatment for fertilizer and bioenergy. Closed-circuit aquaculture. Recycling of construction waste. Recycling of organic waste for fertilizer and bioenergy. The barges have no problem with the flooding river. 4. Bioenergy. The main energy source for the Paracity is bioenergy, which is using both treated organic waste and sludge from Paracity and surrounding Taipei, and especially biomass that is harvested around Paracity and on the flood banks of the Taipei rivers. The fertile flood banks, floodplains, and storm water channels provide ideal cultivation areas for fast-growing biomass plantations. The vegetation will be harvested by boats and then shipped to Paracity Bioenergy Facility. The growing of the biomass on the river banks will also benefit on the natural river restoration through root cleansing of sediment pollution, and the biomass will have a positive impact on the Taipei microclimate and urban ecology. 5. Parasite urbanism. Paracity is living off the material streams from the surrounding Taipei. Even the polluted river is a resource for this bio-urban intestine. Paracity is medieval medicine, using leeches to cure the circulation. Paracity is letting off the bad blood of Taipei, and it uses it a resource. In fact, it makes money out of the process. Officially 37% of the Taipei city wastewater goes untreated to the river. Paracity wants it all. And it wants all the other materials which the industrial city is regarding as waste. Paracity and modern Taipei live in a similar kind of a symbiosis as a slum and the city. The urban nomads will clean the static city from its waste. Only in Paracity the cleaning and recycling process is boosted up by high environmental technology. In a sense, the Paracity is a high-tech slum. 6. Existence maximum. Paracity is a seed of the third-generation city, the organic ruin of the industrial city, 2G. The modular bio-urban organism is designed to grow following the rule of nature, existence maximum. The primary structure can be grown by people, and after Paracity has reached the critical mass, the life-providing system of the CLT structure will start escalating. It will cross the river and start rooting on the floodplains. Then it will cross the 12 meters high Taipei flood wall and grow gradually into the city. Seeds of the Paracity will start rooting in the urban acupuncture points of Taipei, illegal community gardens, urban farms, abandoned cemeteries, and wastelands. From these acupuncture points the Paracity will start growing following the covered irrigation systems, such as the Liaokang Channel, and eventually the bio-urban organism and the static city will find a balance, the third-generation Taipei. 7. Mediator. After rooting on the riverside and gaining a critical mass, the Paracity will climb over the 12 meters high reinforced concrete flood wall which is separating modern Taipei from the rivers and nature. The flood wall will remain in the guts of the Paracity, but the new structure enables Taipei citizens to fluently reach the river. Paracity will reunite the river reality and the urban fiction. Paracity is a mediator between the modern city and nature. 8. Bioclimatic architecture. Paracity has a lot of holes, gaps, and nature in between houses. The system is ventilating itself like a large-scale beehive of post-industrial insects. The different temperatures of the roofs, gardens, water bodies and shaded platforms will generate small winds between them, and the hot roofs will start sucking in breeze from the cooler river. Also, the individual houses should follow the traditional principles of bioclimatic architecture and not rely on mechanical air conditioning. 9. Free flooding. Paracity is based on free flooding. The whole city is standing on stilts, allowing the river to pulsate freely with the frequent typhoons and storm waters. The environmental technology of the Paracity is mounted on barges, which have no problem with the flooding either. Actually, the Paracity is an organic architectural flood itself, ready to cross the flood wall of Taipei and spread into the mechanical city. 10. Bio-urban restoration. Paracity is a positive organic tumor in the mechanical tissue of Taipei. While it is leaching and processing the industrial and organic waste of the city, it is gaining momentum in its growth and becomes more and more important to the static industrial urbanism. Paracity is an alternative reality within the industrial development and will start treating the city the same ways as the urban acupuncture points of illegal community gardens and urban farms of Taipei do today. Paracity has the ability to become a network of bio-urban acupuncture, tuning the whole industrial city towards the organic, ruining the industrialism on its way to become part of nature, the third-generation city. 11. Organic layers. The bio-urbanism of the Paracity is as much landscape as it is architecture. The totalitarian landscape architecture of Paracity includes organic layers for natural water purification and treatment, community gardening, farming and biomass production as an energy source. Infrastructure and irrigation water originates from the polluted Danshui River and will be both chemically and biologically purified before being used in the farms, gardens, and houses of the community. The chemically purified water gets pumped to the roof parks on the top level of the Paracity, from where the gravity will circulate the water into the three-dimensional irrigation systems. 12. Adaptability. The pilot project of the Paracity is designed in Taipei, but the solution is developed to work in different locations around the world. Paracity offers an alternative for the Chinese strategic urban planning to start ecologically harmonizing the growing river cities of China. And Paracity can be used as urban acupuncture for the emerging cities of China and elsewhere. Paracity can grow along the Oshiwara chain of slums in Mumbai, providing better living conditions, cleaning up the Oshiwara River and more effectively treating the urban waste that is flooding in from the surrounding city. Paracity can parachute into Nairobi and start growing from the fertile topsoil of the slums. Paracity should grow into the favelas of Brazil and start celebrating the local knowledge of these organic communities. Paracity is organic, adaptable, and welcomes local knowledge. The city is built by hands of a high diversity of different people. 13. Local knowledge. Paracity is inspired by the local knowledge of Taipei, the original Taiwanese urban elements that include a high level of self-made illegal architecture, self-organized communities, extensive networks of self-organized community gardens and urban farms, fluid nomadic ways of using the city, communicative collective subconscious in community and urban scale, feeling of dominating the no man's land by human nature and other forms of constructive anarchy. The Paracity basically only provides the primary structure, the three-dimensional landscape for the local knowledge to be attached and grow. The primary structure and the environmental technology solutions will remain pretty much the same no matter in which culture the Paracity starts to grow, but the real human layer of DIY architecture and gardens will follow the local knowledge of the respective culture and site. Paracity is always site-specific and it is always local.